Tell us about the future of the electric power in the U.S.
Well, the future of electric power in the U.S. is somewhat unknown. We're seeing a larger demand for energy from consumers and from industry, but we're not seeing more generation assets go online. And when I say generation assets, that's the nuclear plants, hydroelectric plants. We're seeing an increase in wind and solar energy production, which is good, but in our industry, what it takes is diversity. And I mean diversity in generation. Nuclear energy has a part, solar and wind energy renewables have a part. We still need to burn coal. Our greatest natural resource in this country is coal. So it has a part in it, as well as a natural gas generation. So it's very important for our industry that we have that diversity. So when one of them is low, as we saw in Texas last winter with the natural gas plants, the other generation assets can pick up.
What are challenges that we face as a nation?
I think the greatest challenge that we have right now is supply and demand. Being able to provide that base load of energy to power each and every light bulb that we turn on. We face challenges through regulatory pressures. We're all conservationists. We want the environment to be as healthy as possible, but it does come at a cost. We can't be reliable on 100% solar energy because the sun doesn't shine 24 hours a day. We've got to be able to store that energy, and building those batteries and disposing of those batteries has a cost to the environment as well. So all of those factors are concerning, but basically the biggest concern is being able to meet the general demand of the industry, so we don't have to go through rolling blackouts like you see in other parts of the world.
Tell us how solar can benefit local power companies.
Yeah, solar energy is a great resource. I mean, the sun is a tremendous source of energy for us, and to be able to harness that light and turn it into clean power that we can use is important. But like I said earlier, you cannot rely on the sun at night, so you have to be able to store that energy. For the average residential member, investing in solar power for their house is not financially feasible. You may see an outlay of $60,000 or $70,000 to put a solar array on your roof and to be able to store that energy and use it at night. It's concerning to me that the solar industry has become more of a financial industry, and their motives are less of a noble one to get solar energy out there and more for the profits of financing those $60,000 and $70,000 solar arrays for 25 years. So it's up to us to become trusted advisors and help our members to make wise decisions. We want more solar, but we don't want people to be taken advantage of in a predatory manner.
Is the technology going to get cheaper?
Oh yes, like any technology, it will become cheaper in time. It's a supply and demand function. As more solar arrays and batteries are produced, the price pressures will come down. So the average residential member needs to look at what their break-even point is in making that decision. So I think the average payback for a solar array break-even point is somewhere around 15 to 18 years. In my mind, when it gets to be 10 to 12 years, that's when you'll start to see more adoption of solar.
Is our current grid going to be able to handle the demand as Americans make the switch to electric vehicles?
Well, to answer your question, the current grid, so to speak, cannot handle the demand if everybody buys an electric vehicle. Think of it this way. Most of us in our routines will come home, cook dinner, go through our nightly routine and plug it in to charge overnight just like we do our cell phones. And if everyone were to do that in a very dense subdivision at 9 o'clock at night, our distribution transformers, the way they are sized, cannot handle that load. So I guess in terms of mass adoption of EVs, I don't think our current grid can handle that. But I don't think there's going to be mass adoption. The towing capacity of electric trucks is insufficient for most people who pull a trailer or pull a boat. The battery sizes aren't enough to take you to destined for vacation. So for somebody like me, it doesn't fit my routines. I don't foresee that there will be mass adoption of electric vehicles on our system. But we do have to keep an eye on that to make sure that subdivisions are adequately equipped with the right transformer size if you've got 6, 7, 8 electric vehicles on the same street.
Are power providers making plans to address new consumer demands?
Well, we buy 100% of our power from TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority. They are allowing us some flexibility to buy up to 5% of our load from another source as long as it's renewable. And we've contracted to purchase 5% of that power from some solar arrays that are being built on our system. In my mind, TVA utilities might benefit the overall grid by being allowed to source more power outside of our power contract with TVA. But utilities as a whole, we need more generation. We're addressing that. We have asked TVA, our wholesale power provider, to look into what it would take to provide more power to the grid, because we are seeing projects, economic development projects, with load sizes like we have never seen. We would typically get excited when we'd have a prospect that had a load requirement of 5 megawatts looking to locate in our area. And with battery manufacturers and solar panel manufacturers and those projects that are tied to the Ford Blue Oval plant, we're seeing projected loads of 10, 25, 45 megawatts locate close to us. And for us to be able to serve those is important, because as a member-owned utility, it helps keep the cost low to our other members. So yeah, we're concerned. It's my job as a marketing director for a utility to sell power, and I need power to sell. So we have to be in constant communication with our wholesale power providers to ensure that happens.